morning and welcome to Wellbeing Wednesday. I'm absolutely delighted today to be joined by Rob Donnelly from Rob Donnelly Therapy. And you've been practicing over 14 years, haven't you, Rob?
Yeah, morning, Sandy, and yeah, big thanks for inviting me on to this Wellbeing Wednesday. Yeah, so I've been a therapist, hypnotherapist, and coach in the Thatcham area for over 14 years now. Where did that all go?
Time flies, doesn't it? And you specialise in anxiety and addiction.
Yeah, I do. Like all therapists, I was a bit of a generalist when I first started, and I do work with anxiety and addiction. Is that all I work with? Obviously not, but that they tend to be the sort of clients that I tend to see nowadays. Yeah, that's right.
Excellent. So we're going to talk today about anxiety, and I know there's a lot of people out there that suffer from anxiety. And first of all, can you tell me a little bit about what anxiety is?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. And, you know, what I've learned over the years is everybody has a different interpretation of what anxiety is all about. So I'll give you what I deem to be my very basic explanation. And I'm a very simple therapist. I use this with all my clients, and simple works for me, really.
Absolutely.
Anxiety is really the brain continually trying to find an answer to something that is beyond our control. Mm-hmm. And you'll continually try and find the answer, but obviously it's generally not out within your control. And the more you find that you can't find the answer, the more the brain will start looping. It starts increasing the parasympathetic nervous system, and it can lead to, as we've seen it, panic attacks, sweats, even people passing out. So that's my simple sort of definition.
And that's exactly what I'm looking for, because I mean, I always say that I speak in bus driver speak. And I know that there's lots of medical terms, and there's probably people out there saying, oh, it's a lot more complicated than that. But really what we're trying to do is just get people to understand the basics of what anxiety is. And I know that you can, anxiety at its worst can be really debilitating, can't it? It can really affect your day-to-day life horrendously.
Oh, massively, yeah. For different people, it shows itself in different levels. You know, I work with driving anxiety. I might work with also, you know, even flying anxiety. And if you're flying, it's still an anxiety of some sort. And it can be quite debilitating, like you said. But one of the things I didn't mention is anxiety is our inbuilt protection system. So, you know, it's there. It's been there since the caveman days. It's the old fight and flight thing. You know, do I stand and fight, or do I try and get away from this big hairy monster? So, you know, when we're actually, when our anxiety system is cutting in, it's there for a reason. It's trying to protect us.
Okay, so ways of dealing with anxiety. I know you've got sort of 3 tips that can help people that suffer from anxiety, and the first one's based all around breathing, isn't it?
It is, yeah. I mean, if you'd have asked me 40 years ago, you know, what would be one of the simplest tools or techniques you could use for anxiety, I probably would have poo-pooed this. But the power of breathing is massively undervalued. I mean, I know people who run a therapy business basically on breathing. There are lots of therapeutic techniques out there. All of them, I'm sure, will help. We recommend the 7-11 breathing technique. So very simply, you know, you breathe in for the count of 7, you breathe out for the count of 11. So the in for 7, out for 11. And ultimately, this is not seconds. Obviously, it's not minutes. It's whatever that count is right for you. So the in breath needs to be shorter than the out breath. This causes the parasympathetic nervous system, because when we get anxious, you know, our sympathetic nervous system is working overtime. It's filling our muscles, getting ready to run and everything. This breathing, you know, it's a natural process. So it's going to force the parasympathetic nervous system to cause us to calm down, and we will naturally calm.
It's that part of the nervous system that kind of makes you feel tense and just makes it all worse, makes your breathing shallow and your heart rate go.
Yeah, that's right. That's the sympathetic nervous system, and its counterpart is that parasympathetic nervous system. And you know, it is a proven physical process. So I recommend you try that. You know, in for 7, out for 11. Do it 10 or 15 times. Maybe even before you're going to stand up and make a speech, or before you're going to be doing something that you know is going to make you feel anxious, and it will help. You know, is it the solution to everything? No, but it will help.
And you have another little trick as well, don't you? The stop it trick.
Yeah, this again, I'm a great believer in simple, because we live in a very complicated world out there. You know, everybody's trying to complicate things. And again, so when you've got the mind racing like mad, and it will, different people, it'll race at different speeds. If you just scream, stop it, stop it, and stop it inside your head, or even out loud if you can do it and you're not going to disturb everybody else, but scream, stop it, and that will pattern interrupt that loop.
Yeah.
Pattern interrupt. And if we interrupt the pattern, then we'll stop the loop, and we'll branch off into some other line of thought, and hopefully it'll just help you stop escalating your thoughts, which is generally what anxiety is doing for you.
Yeah, absolutely. And can you combine that with the breathing? So as you're breathing, can you kind of like do that in your head?
I've never seen anybody do it, but it doesn't mean to say it can't be done.
You heard it here first. You can always try.
I'm a great believer. If it works for you, then great, give it a try and try it. But yeah.
Excellent. And the final one is about your reality, isn't it? And I know I certainly relate to this. But explain to everyone listening and viewing that what that is about.
Yeah, we do create our own reality. Whether you're going to either love this or hate it, but it's true. Let me share a little story with you. Trevor Sylvester, who taught me as a therapist way back when, about 15 years ago, him and his wife were walking through Regent's Park one particular night on a Saturday. It was just getting dark, and they were walking along back to the room where they were going to be staying that evening. Trevor grabbed his wife and said, "We've got to get out of here. We've got to get out of here." And his wife said, "What's the problem? What's going on?" Now, Trevor's a big, hairy policeman, so he knows what he's about. He said, that white thing is going to attack us. She says, "What do you mean? What are you on about?" He says, "I can see that white thing. We've got to get out of it. Otherwise, we're going to get pounced on." And she says, "It's a carrier bag." And it was a carrier bag blown in the wind. So what that tells us is two people can look at exactly the same thing, but see different things. And what that explains for us is we create our own reality. So we look out through our own eyes, we look at a certain situation, we take the information in, and we pattern match it against either recent events or previous events, and we start to think and feel in a way that event might make you feel. So my advice is, again, I'm not going to say this is going to fix everything, but if you find yourself in a situation like that, then ask yourself, who's creating this reality? I am. Is it real? Very often it's not real. It's just like the standing outside of the headmaster's door. The anticipation of standing outside the door is a lot worse than when you go in reality and you face whatever it is that you're going to face. So who's creating this reality? I am. Is it real? No, it's not real. If I were to choose a reality that would serve me better, what would that be? And try and focus on that, and that will help without a doubt.
I think that's absolutely sound advice. I mean, one of the things that I do if I'm going into a situation that makes me uncomfortable, I think to myself, what's the worst thing that's going to happen?
Yeah,
and
exactly.
then once I've realized that, anything else is just like a breeze. Listen, Rob, thank you so much. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you, and I'm sure that those three things are people that they're going to take away with them. So remember, breathing, stop it, and think about your reality. We're going to put some links to you in the comments. Thank you once again for joining us today. It's been delightful, and for all your tips and advice.
No, honestly, Sandy, thanks very much for inviting me. It's been lovely, and hope it helps somebody somewhere. That's what's important.
It will. Happy Wednesday. Thanks, Rob.